You know, there's a kind of grief people don't talk about. Not the grief of losing somebody, but the grief of losing yourself. Losing who you were. Losing the routine that shaped your days. Losing the confidence that came with being needed. Losing the purpose that pulled you out of bed every morning. It's the grief that hits when the world changes so fast and you can't keep up because the rules changed behind your back. And tonight, I want to talk to the people who are grieving silently. The ones who feel like life left them sitting alone on a bench they never asked to sit on. Because the truth is, millions of Americans aren't just losing jobs. They're losing themselves. Welcome back to Offended Outcast. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel, take a moment and hit that button. It would really help. Thank you. Well, tonight's a heavy one. But it's one I know a whole lot of you need to hear right now. This episode is for the people who feel like the job market walked right past them. The people who gave their best years, their strongest years, their loyalty, and then got tossed out like a used napkin. It's for the people who feel less than. Not because they aren't enough, but because a broken system convinced them that their worth begins and ends with a time card. If you've been feeling lost, unsteady, ashamed, left behind, or invisible, you're not alone. And tonight, I want to talk about finding purpose after collapse and how to stay grounded, calm, and emotionally alive in a world that means and measures everything in dollars and productivity. Let's call it what it is. We weren't raised in a culture that valued people. We were raised in a culture that values output. Your worth measured in productivity. Your dignity measured in your paycheck. Your purpose measured in whether some corporation could wring profit out of your time. And for decades, that system worked just well enough to keep the illusion going. But now we've got a job market that cuts workers at 55 like clockwork. A gig economy replacing real careers. Algorithms deciding who gets hired. Entry-level jobs demanding 10 years of experience. And wages that insult the cost of living. Employers calling people unskilled just to justify low pay. And age discrimination, as we've discussed before, is becoming rampant. And millions of resumes are auto-rejected without a human ever seeing them now. Who would ever guess? You know that? That's not your failure. That's the system. But the worst part isn't the money. It's the identity theft that comes with it. The way it strips meaning from your days. The way it makes you feel like you don't matter anymore. The way it makes you think you've lost your place in the world. That's the real injury. And nobody talks about it. Losing a job, losing work, losing your role in society, it tears something from you. It hits your pride, your dignity, and your sense of being needed. You lose structure, routine, a reason to get up, small daily interactions, a sense of belonging, a rhythm, a purpose. And you start to feel like a ghost in your own life. Let's talk about the emotional truths people are too ashamed to say out loud. Well, you feel useless, even though you're not. You feel like you're falling behind everyone else, even though everyone else is struggling too. Just some of them are better at hiding it than you are. You feel disconnected from the person you used to be. Like that version of you packed a bag and left. And you feel embarrassed. Like losing a job equals losing value or something. And you can feel invisible. Nobody checks in. Friends start to fade away. Family brushes it off with, "Oh, you'll find something." You feel guilty even resting now. Because society lied to you. It told you your worth is your productivity. And when that productivity disappears, your brain whispers the most dangerous lie. Maybe I don't matter anymore. Well, let me tell you something plainly here. You still matter. The world just stopped rewarding the things that used to make sense. And that's not your fault. This next part might be the hardest part to accept here. Your job was never your identity. Your paycheck was never your value. Your productivity was never your purpose. That was all conditioning. Programming, if you want to call it that. From childhood, we were taught, work hard and you matter. Make money and you matter. Stay productive and you matter. Don't struggle or you lose your worth. Well, what a lie is that? You mattered before you could work. You'll matter after you stop working. And you still matter even when society forgets to see it. Your value is not tied to labor, guys. Your purpose is not tied to employment. And your identity is not tied to corporate approval. Okay. I want to offer a couple grounded, real-world strategies. For start, do small things. Have small anchors. Make the bed. Drink some water. Take a short walk. Have a 5-minute morning goal, whether it's exercising or something like that. Check on your pet. Read something positive. Get away from some of this doom and gloom that we see every day. These help rebuild the brain stability, okay? And create a micro mission, if you want to call it that. Not a job, but a purpose. For example, work on one small project a day. That's pretty much what I do around here at the homestead. Every day I pick a project, and that's what I focus my mind on. Fix a hinge, clean a drawer, patch a hole, start some seedlings in a cup, teach a neighbor something. I don't know, write a short journal entry or something, But purpose grows from small sparks, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. And, it helps to ground you again and starts to help build a foundation for you to start healing and moving forward. And, share your skills. That helps a lot too. Many older Americans underestimate how valuable their knowledge is and their skill sets are. Because we've become conditioned as we get pushed out of the workforce that we don't matter, so therefore our skills don't matter. Well, I have to argue against that 100% because our skills, we learned the hard way. We studied, we learned from masters. We spent years and decades perfecting our skills and our trades and our crafts. And so they still have impact and they still have value today because we see with our younger generations what's being churned out in these colleges and universities today. Many of them can't change a tire. So I guess that's my point. I mean, we can be teaching, we can be Sharing knowledge, whether it's cooking, mechanics, mending, budgeting, do-it-yourself repairs, gardening, or like me, offering some life lessons. I mean, these are purpose generators. They're not just hobbies. They give you a sense of purpose, a reason for being. I mean, start rebuilding your community in small circles. Say hello to one person a week. Hey, believe it or not, it works. Start with the smallest possible step. And then start investing your energy in things that give back. Whether that be pets. Gardening is a purpose. It produces food that you can consume and sell. And of course, taking care of your own space is purpose too. Or help someone online. That's a good purpose too. I mean, give yourself permission to be enough. Not productive, mind you, and not profitable, but just enough. Here's another thought I want to run by you. A lot of us, the mind gets racing and we get to thinking, and the thoughts start flowing. And a lot of them hurt. But here's a novel idea. Start naming what hurts. What you don't name controls you. And you need to be able to say, I feel scared. Or I feel lost. I feel overlooked. Or I miss who I used to be. I mean, this is powerful. Because once named, these feelings start to lose their claws. Just something I wanted you to consider for a minute. And another good idea that I think is what I call the 3 good things reset every day. Every night before you go to bed, look at something that you did. Look at something that you enjoyed. And find something that you was grateful for, even the smallest thing. Because this starts to rewire the brain out of the doom mode. And it's a good way, a small tool in the chest to start overcoming depression and anxiety and frustration. I mean, does it work all the time? No. But if it's something you add on a daily basis, I think you'll find it will help lift you up, and it will help lift you out of this thought pattern. Your survival, after all, is not a failure. Your situation is not your identity. You are doing the best you can in a collapsing system. And you are allowed to take a rest now and then, even though your mind is racing 100 miles an hour telling you you got to go out and do this. You got to go do that. You got to get out this next job application and things like that. But, you still matter. And you have to start taking care of your mental health along the way. I mean, you're not behind and you're not late. You may think you're failing, but you're not. The system failed. The economy has failed. Look around you. Corporate greed has exploded. Everything they touch, money, 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 please. But you are still here. Still trying, still fighting, and you're still showing up. And that counts for more than you know. Finding new purposes. They start forming resilience. And you can do that through the people that you can help, through the wisdom you can share, and you can refine it through the decisions that you make every day. And believe it or not, you're surviving what others couldn't. Through a strength I don't think you really know you have. After all, purpose after collapse is quieter, but it's a lot deeper. All right, here's my final thought. If nobody has told you today, I'm glad you're here. Not because of your job, not because of your productivity, and not because of your income, but because of who you are. And you matter. You still have a future, and you still have chapters left in this life that aren't written yet. And you still have a purpose. You are not invisible. Not here. And not in this community. I hope you've enjoyed this episode tonight. I hope I gave you something to think about. So until next time, guys, let's rise together.